Hi, I'm Danny Johnson. Welcome to the Danny Johnson Show. Hey, now that it's the holidays, do you have traditions inside of your family that you hate? Are you open to some new ones? You know, having family traditions is really important. There's something that my husband started a few years back, and it was called the Johnson Family Tribe Week. And in that Johnson Family Tribe Week, which was a new tradition that was started, he has started to build a vision for legacy for our family. And one of the items that we talk about during the Johnson Family Tribe Week, when we have our family office meeting where all the kids get together, not the grandkids, but all the adults and mom and dad. And that's a time of some teaching about wealth and some teaching about investing and reiterating what the family core values are. And also talking about traditions. And we made a long list of what our family traditions were. And so what I found to be interesting is because, you know, we've been that family that's kind of been the establishment of holiday type things, meaning that once we did the research and we found out that Jesus was not born December 25th, and we found out that, Easter actually was a pagan holiday, and same with December 25th being the birth of the sun god, you know, things began to change like big time. Our kids were very, very little when we discovered this. So they had not, I don't even know if anyone remembers doing Easter egg hunts because it just stopped right away. And same with gift giving during the Christmas season. But instead, we started to give gifts to the poor. In our trips around Christmas time, usually our tradition was we leave the country. We want to get away from all the stress, all the pressure, all the hustle, all the bustle, all the hustle to buy people things that they do not need. We just were like, we're out. We're leaving the country for 2 to 3 weeks during the Christmas season. And that's pretty much was a family tradition. Everyone's now grown and everyone has full-time jobs and everybody has a family of their own. So they, you know, for all of us to get together during that time is a crazy thing. But typically mom and dad are like, we're out of here. In fact, out of here, like, you know, Argentina and Antarctica this year is what's on our list to do for the last couple weeks of this particular month. And so anyway, so I don't know what your family traditions are, but I want to tell you about one that we've had through the holidays that really, really blessed. And I have to tell you, really formed a different kind of heart inside of our kids. I'm really blessed as I see who they are as adults and how they're very different than so many of their generation. And one of the things I can tell you where they're different is their heart for people who have nothing. And that was by design. You know, I started to see that the culture was pressing against our family. And not to mention the fact that Hans and I, through, you know, after being on welfare as kids, even as an adult, I was on welfare. And then, you know, I was a homeless woman starting a business from the trunk of my car in a payphone booth and becoming a millionaire and, you know, made millions and millions of dollars. In the beginning, it was all for us. It was all about our stuff. And, you know, our kids had this crazy lavish lifestyle when they were super, super young. Most of them don't remember it because they were babies. And then we had a major wake-up call about consumerism and materialism and greed and how we were just like so like strangled by it and strangled by the pressure of it all. And we came to this revelation that like, gosh, what is this all about? Like, who is this all for? Why are we doing this? This is not even enjoyable, right? It's not even enjoyable. It's not even fun. It's not even like something that is rewarding. It's like just pressure and more pressure. I would dread, honestly, sadly, I would dread some of the family events that we would be going to, not because there was conflict, you know, with family members, love being with the people, but all the pressure, right? You know, you pick a name and you got to go buy that person something that they don't need it. And the pressure of how do you get it right? And then, of course, the pressure that they're under to buy us something and none of us need anything. So then what do? You truck all this crap in your Suburban all the way 12 hours back down from Washington to the state of California, and you got to find a place for all the crap. And so every year it'd be like the same thing over and over again. And it would just be like, can't the family just get together and not buy each other crap none of us need? Can't we just get together, play games, have some food, talk story, catch up with each other, and just enjoy each other versus all of this insane pressure of all of these gifts and this insane pressure of somehow getting it right and then the pressure of taking it all home? Well, of course, they want to continue on with their traditions, and that's fine. And so we kind of created one of our own, and we just opted out. Kind of like at the airport, when TSA wants to molest you, like, opt out. They want to push through a screen machine and they want to take naked pictures of you and your children. They're like, no, we're opting out of this. But nonetheless, this is what one of our traditions were. We opted out. We opted out of all the materialism, all the consumerism. We opted our children out of being greedy mongrels who are ungrateful, who lose interest in a toy after about 2 hours, and they're on to what the next thing is. Not to mention opening a big pile of gifts, like, oh, wow, that's great. Bam, on to the next one. Oh, wow, that's great, And so we opted out. And what we did was actually something really phenomenal. I'm really proud of the fruit that has happened inside of the kids as a direct result of this. So what we would do is we would secretly go and we'd find families that had nothing. We'd find out who they were, what their names were, their favorite colors were, what their actual needs were. The kids need jackets, or is there blankets on the bed? Do they need food? Do they need pants? Do they need socks? Do they need shoes? We found out what the needs were of the whole family, and the poorest families in our cities, or some very poor families in different countries. And what we did is that all of us, the whole family, would have a list of things. We knew the name of the people we were shopping for. We knew what all the favorites were. And we allowed the kids to go and pick out a gift that they would have wanted to receive themselves. And we gave pretty much not much of a budget for that. So we told them, it's like, whatever it is that you would want, and we would try to match up the kid that they were buying for to be around the same age and interest of our particular child. Sometimes it matched up, sometimes it didn't. And so we let the kids go hog wild at a Walmart, picking out whatever it is that they would have wanted to receive. And boy, seeing the joy on their faces. Mom, look what I picked out. I can't wait. And listen, our kids never got to see those kids opening those gifts. Their imagination was the only thing that they had. To imagine what it would be like to be expecting nothing. Because why? Because our culture has created so much hype around all of the consumerism and materialism of a holiday that actually is not even centered around the birth of the Messiah. It's not. It's now become about some Santa Claus, and really it is the celebration of the birth of the sun god who was born December 25th, not the son of the living God, but the S-U-N God, the God of the sun, right, which is a pagan false god. And that's actually what all of us are celebrating. And they did this with trees and putting lights on the trees to represent the sun. And so here, people spend all this money during this time of year. And if that's what you do, I don't judge you for that. Don't judge our family, because we will not have a Christmas tree and we do not have Christmas lights. And I don't have decorations in my house. I used to be the person who decorated even the darn bathroom with lights and garland and bows and frosts, things, white snow, whatever. I had it everywhere. Every room in that house was cluttered with so much stuff, and 1,000 lights outside too. And yes, it was kind of neat and it was kind of exciting until you have the revelation of the reality of what you've been duped in. And I love the Christmas songs, no question. Wished it was the truth that he was born December 25th, but he wasn't born December 25th. He was born, according to the Bible, either in September or April, one of the other. Certainly not in the winter, but certainly in the fall or the spring, one of the other. There's two different positions on that. It's one of those, but everyone agrees it definitely was not in December. It absolutely was not December 25th because he was born on a Hebrew calendar. And the Hebrew calendar is not December 25th every single year. The Hebrew calendar has actually less days in the calendar, so it's a different day every time on the Gregorian calendar. Anyway, so a tradition that we had was that our kids got to experience the joy of buying something for someone who had nothing. That's how they spent their Christmas. They never got to see the kids experiencing it, but they got to the joy of being able to purchase it and imagining how it would feel to receive it. They had the joy of being able to wrap it all together. And they had the joy of delivering it when the families were not home, secretly arriving to deliver a month's worth of food for some families, clothes, pajamas, shoes, school clothes, school supplies, whatever, and a toy. And that was an amazing thing to see what that did to the hearts of the kids. One year, we actually did this in Hawaii. And our family went to Hawaii for a couple of weeks. We happened to be doing an event over there, and so we stayed for 2 weeks. And our kids got to kind of experience, where my husband grew up and where Hans and I met and where I was homeless and all of that. And they were pretty young to not even remember most of that. But I remember asking them on the way to the airport as we were leaving Hawaii. And I asked them in our family debrief, so what was your favorite thing about these 2 weeks? And unanimously, all 4 of them that were in the car said the same thing: giving the gifts to the poor. Melted my heart. Melted my heart. Not a single one of them were ungrateful for what they did not get, but every single one of them was blessed to give in secret. So that's a family tradition that we have. In fact, we turn that family tradition to not be just once a year, but this family gives every single month to the tune of thousands and thousands of dollars. In fact, millions of dollars that have been given from our family to people that do not know us, to orphans we will never meet, building 1,000 homes, in fact, 1,500 homes now, building 1,500 homes to majority of the 1,500 will never see our faces. The kids that have been delivered out of the sex trade, we've never met a single one of them. All done in secret. The elderly that we've been caring for more than a decade, they've never seen our face. And there's great joy in giving something to someone that cannot give you something back. They have no way to thank you. They don't know who you are. So there's only one that can get the thank you, and that's the God that has revealed himself to provide for their needs on that day. So it formed a different kind of character in our kids. Every one of them has a heart for the poor. Every one of them has spent time living amongst the orphans. Every one of them has even drained their little bank accounts or spent their entire check to help the poor. They're givers, concerned about other people's needs. And they all 5 have very different personalities, but all 5 have stretched out with that kind of character. So I'm not saying I have perfect kids, but I am saying that family tradition that doesn't just happen at Christmas, but it happens every month in one way, shape, or form by any one of us. Our family is about giving instead of taking. And we're not about giving things to people who don't need anything. We're about giving to those who have nothing. So I encourage you, what if you did that? What if you did what we've done as a family and partnered with Kings Ransom? Kings Ransom, who has freed almost 4,000 kids from the sex trade, has built over 2,000 homes between Haiti and Nicaragua for the extreme poor, who has helped to provide jobs and businesses for the extreme poor, who has fed over 60,000 orphans, has built orphanages. What if you your family partners with Kings Ransom this year, instead of buying a bunch of stuff and falling into the world of consumerism again and going into debt for things that nobody needs? What if you decided to elevate you and your family? What if you decided to start a family tradition where your family is about not getting, but it's about giving? And to who? The poor. There ain't nobody in your family probably this poor. There's probably nobody around you that even understands what real poverty is. So either search for people in your city, like we did, or abroad, wherever it is that your heart ticks for, wherever it is that God maybe plants on your heart that you want to care for. Is it Africa? King's Ransom has orphans in Africa. Is it supplying water? Because there is no water in some of these places in Africa, or the water that they do have is contaminated and killing babies. Does that tug on your heart? Get together with your family. Have a family meeting. Pick one project that's on the Kings Ransom site and decide. Is it sex trade? Is it water supply? Is it building houses? Is it feeding orphans? Is it taking care of the elderly? What will your family represent, and who will they help? Let that be a tradition. That's not just a December tradition, because for some reason, some people, their family traditions, we take care of other families in December and they take care of themselves. But why don't you extend the tradition to being a monthly tradition? Yeah, a monthly tradition. Let it be part of your culture, part of your family values. Why don't you be different than everybody else? Rather than trying to fit in with everyone else, which you never feel like you fit in, right? Rather than doing what everybody else does, why not do something better? And then you can gather around, because what? The cool thing about Christmas is that everyone gets a day off. So in that day off, enjoy each other. We like to play games if we're in the country. Play some games, eat some food, watch some movies, build some memories. But the day is not about consumerism or materialism, and the day is not about getting. The day is about giving love to each other and who we have loved on throughout the entire year. So that's one of our family traditions. You can join us on that adventure if you got the guts and the courage to. You could do what we did. Gosh, man, 1990... I think I started this in 1997. Yeah, I think it was 1997 where I called all my friends and the family who had a list of over 300 gifts to purchase for. And I just said, we're opting out. Hey, how about them? Please don't send my family anything. Please don't send my kids anything. No one needs anything. And I'm going to ask that we don't as well to you, because we're going to actually find some families that need something. And we're going to point all the money in that direction and bless some families secretly. That's when it started for us. That, friend, is more than 20 years ago. This is our 21st year. So if you got the courage, step up, rise up, and do something great with your life. Go to kingsransom.org. Pick a project that matters to your family. 100% of all the money that your family sends to Kings Ransom, guess what? Goes straight to that project. No administrative costs. It's not going to go to someone driving a Bentley. It's not going to go to some executive of the foundation being flown around in a private jet. Nope, not like the United Way, not like the Red Cross. Those people, are getting rich off of the poor instead of taking care of the poor. Yes, they do some, but I'm telling you that they're getting rich off of it. There's nobody it's getting rich off of King's Ransom. 100% of your donation goes straight to the clothes for those orphans, the heating bill for the elderly, building the materials for the extreme poor who have no homes, straight into providing food and shelter, safety and counseling for those being freed out of the sex trade. Do you understand what I'm saying? Straight to the materials to build that well for those villages out there in Africa. So 100% of your money goes straight into those materials. The foundation doesn't take any of your donation at all to handle their administrative costs. Their administrative costs are covered by a corporate sponsor. Somebody is sponsoring the 3 employees at kingsransom.org, so you have nothing to worry about when it comes to, is your money going to a good place? Yes, it is. So gather with the family. Do something different. Be different. Be the change. Have the courage. Get brave. Go against the grain. Teach your family to go against the grain. They're going to end up successful because 98% of the population is going to do this holiday season the way they did it the last few years, going into debt, buy stuff for people that don't need nothing, and dealing with all the pressure and the stress. Opt out. Be a 2%er this holiday season and make it be what you want it to be. Question the current traditions that the family has been keeping and whether or not they're really good or healthy or producing what you want it to produce. And then you get to start something new for your family and leaving a totally different legacy. I'm Danny Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless you. Have a great one.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DannyJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Danny Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.